Okay, we're here. Welcome everyone to today's training on how to find, hire, and manage your virtual assistants for your real estate business. If you can hear me clearly, please let me know. Give me a yes or a thumbs up in the comment section. That way I know you can hear me. That would be great. And I'm going to be sharing my screen today so I can show you exactly how I hire and find these great, amazing people in our lives called virtual assistants. So first I'm going to give you a little background about how I first started with virtual assistants and the sites I'm going to introduce you to. I have been using virtual assistants before it became popular. And I got exposed to it by a good friend of mine named David Osborne, who actually, hey, thanks so much for letting me know. I got exposed to VAs because he actually had a program and he was teaching people how to use VAs. And I was like, how does that work? Where do these people come from? And, how are you able to hire them abroad and all this stuff? And they're not local to you and all that kind of stuff. So my buddy Dave, we actually used to call him Diamond Dave. That's what it was, Diamond Dave. And so he went around teaching this concept about that. And then I think about a year later, I got introduced to another friend of mine named Davin Michaels, who created the company 123employee.com. And he traveled all over, the country teaching people and also, getting clients for his service. So I started just looking into the idea of how could this be possible. The idea of having people do real estate at the time was, very minimal. It was more like, hey, give these people your tasks, your social media tasks, and other data entry tasks in your business, and it'll be great and it'll work out fine. So up until about a few years ago, I would say within the past 5 years, we've seen a lot more virtual assistants become knowledgeable in real estate. Okay. Now, what I'm about to show you today also doesn't just apply to people abroad. You can actually find people local in your own country. And that is a very powerful thing. A lot of people think virtual assistant is like myself right now. I'm virtual, completely virtual in a whole another country. But that doesn't mean it's the case for everyone. Not everyone is going to be so virtual. That could just mean virtual like in the same state or in the same country or overseas. Okay, so keep that in mind. Some of the stuff I'm going to show you is going to be how I find real estate, specifically virtual assistants for real estate investing. Okay, so there are a few sites out there that are available. I'm going to show you the best one. I'm just going to jump right into what I use. I've used many different ones. There's freelancer.com. I will actually, let me just start sharing the screen with you and show you that right now. All right. We got the software working today, by the way. Now, freelancer.com, there we go. Freelancer.com is a website that I used for, and by the way, excuse me, by the way, if you have any questions along the way as I'm going through this stuff, and feel free to throw it in the comments because I'll get your questions answered live. A lot of the questions that I've already had come in, I'm going to be answering right on this training. I've had emails, I've had questions, so I'm going to be answering those as I go through the training. But if you have a question that comes up while you're watching this, just throw it in the comments and I'll get it answered for you right away, okay? So I used to use freelancer.com quite often. They have a very robust system. They actually were around before the other ones I'm going to introduce you to. They were one of the first ones. And what I used to hire them for was a lot of digital stuff. Digital marketing such as building websites, mobile apps, website design. As you can see here, you will see that website design, start a website interior design company, $50, a mobile app, $240, website design. A lot of digital stuff, and then they recently started doing graphic design, okay? So they're very specifically niched into, a certain industries. So I would suggest that freelancer.com, if you were looking for someone more specific, okay? More specific in regards to maybe IT, development, branding, that kind of stuff. You could use freelancer.com. I want you to also check out this stat. Over 70% of Fortune 500 companies use freelancer.com to get work done. This is very true. This is very true. We see that companies have been outsourcing to people with specific skill sets. And the good thing here with, websites like freelancer.com or the other ones I'm going to show you, they are very specific. They have a skill set. So it's not so much about their degree or their background education and all that stuff. It's really, can they get the job done and can they do it well, satisfactory enough to that you are going to continue to use them over and over again. So that's freelancer.com. I did want to bring that up to you because that is one of the first companies I used when I had a media company. And what we did is we built websites, we did mobile apps, we did a whole bunch of stuff until I sold that company. And I don't use Freelancer anymore, just letting you know that. All right, so what I want to jump over to is this site right here called Upwork.com. It used to be called Odesk until they were bought out and rebranded. So they're my go-to. They really are. I can introduce you to another one really quick, actually. Let me jump in there real quick. It's another website called Fiverr. Now, the way I look at Fiverr is more project-based. Like if you have a specific project you're looking to achieve or looking to get done, you can hire people on a continuity basis, on a weekly if you wanted to or monthly. But I look at Fiverr more as a project basis. And they have a whole bunch of stuff. They have a whole bunch of options from graphics and design, online marketing, writing and translation, video and animation, music, audio, blah. I can go on and on. They even have business. So if you need a business plan, branding services, presentations to be made, there's a lot of good stuff on here. Here's where I've used Fiverr in regards to the real estate industry. There have been times where I've needed certain videos created. So like you've probably seen those cartoon videos or it has a hand drawing on it on the screen and like a whiteboard. So I've hired people in Fiverr to actually create those kinds of videos. Okay, I've also hired voice talent through Fiverr.com also, where I needed someone to read a script and maybe match it to a video. I've hired people on Fiverr to do that also. Logo designs. I've hired people to create logo designs. Now, I know I get this asked quite a bit. People like the Fearless Millionaire logo, but I did not have it created on Fiverr. I get that, that comes up sometimes when I talk about these things. I had that actually created with a company called 99 Designs, 99designs.com. And we've been working with a designer there for close to 10 years now. So that's where we got the logos done. But we also have created other logos for our other companies right through Fiverr.com. Okay, so I wanted to introduce you to this one as well because we typically use Fiverr for short-term projects, something that we know is going to be done within a month, within a few weeks or days, or just a one-off project. That's what we use Fiverr for. Okay, now our primary backbone and how we hire and use VAs for our real estate business. Here we go. I'm going to share with you some of the more detailed strategies on how we do that. Hey, let me move this because I think it's blocking my face. Let's move that over. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you now how I actually find specific real estate assistants. Now, if you want to keep someone in the United States, you're going to keep this highlighted here. By the way, let me just start from the beginning. I didn't plan on giving you a whole 1, 2, 3 setup, but basically sign up with Upwork.com. It's free to sign up. This is a brokerage company. Basically, they're connecting the buyer and the seller together, and they get paid a small fee to make that happen. They give you all the details on their website. I'm not going to bore you with those simple details right now, but I am going to show you how to hire, how I hire, and have hired over 70 virtual assistants. Not in the past few weeks, but over the course of a few years, I've hired over 70 virtual assistants. I actually had to go pull up that number today so I could give it to you. I was like, how many people have I hired on Upwork.com? But over the course of years, and actually as a consultant for other people in the industry, other experts who have wanted to know the same strategies of how do I hire these people, these are some of the ways I do it. So the first thing I'd recommend you do is first type in real estate assistant, and you'll see it right here, real estate assistant. Now, what that's going to do, it's going to aggregate and pull all the people everywhere around the world. It's going to pull that up. If you have this on, it's going to show U.S. only. All right, I want you to keep that in mind. So I'm going to just shut this off right now because I want the global. I want global to see everyone around the world. So I have people from the United States, Philippines, United States, and it just keeps going on and on, okay? So if I want someone outside of the United States, then I'm going to turn that one off, okay? Now, the next part you want to do is go into filters. You go into filters. Now, again, this is Nathan's way. Again, like I said, I hired over 70 people doing this, and I'm going to give you my very unique approach. You may like it, you may not like it. Either way, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know what you think about it. This is what we do. English, any level is fine with me, as long as we can have a decent conversation. I've never ran into any issues with people who had, very, basic English. As long as they can get the job done and we can communicate, I've always had an easy time talking to people. So we leave that at any level. Next, we do earned amount. This is really important, okay? What I care about is I want someone who's made a lot of money on Upwork. Not in their whole career in life, just through Upwork, okay? Upwork tracks that, so I select 10K and above. That's the first filter, as you see there, that is highlighted. Next, job success. I want someone who has 90% and above, okay? 90% above. That's what I want. Next, I go to hourly talent, and I want someone that is $10 and below, if that's within my budget. Again, this is going to impact two ways depending on the project you're giving your virtual assistant. I'm giving you the one that we search for the most. We do around $10 and below. Next, we do hours billed. I want 1,000 plus hours billed. Now, last activity, I want within 2 weeks. That means I want someone who's actively on Upwork working. Okay, I don't want them active within the past 2 months. Now, luckily, all these are the same amount. There's 2,252 freelancers that have been active within the past 2 weeks, so that's okay. But sometimes those numbers will vary. Excuse me. I still have this really bad cough. Next is talent type. Now, talent type is the difference between those two is freelancers only or agencies only. Okay, I leave this freelancers and agencies both open because sometimes we've hired an agent and an agency, and other times we've hired solo freelancers. We typically have found that the freelancers solo have been a lot better for us, and we get more motivated people that way. However, there are certain situations, especially if you're doing a lot of lead gen, that you might want an agency, and if the work is always the same. Because if your virtual assistant gets sick or something happens, someone from the agency will pick up their slack, okay, if something happens or they call out. For example, we had one virtual assistant, she had to go on maternity leave, so if she was just solo and just a solo freelancer, then we'd have to find another freelancer. But because she was in an agency, someone else just took her position, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Okay, next, in category. In category, because we typed in real estate assistant, we kind of want to narrow this down. You could do data entry only, personal virtual assistant, or lead generation, okay? So you can narrow those down. Right now, I'm just going to leave it on any, just so you can see. And there's also a boatload of categories so you can narrow that down into also. Those are the filters. Those are the filters that I've created. So I'm going to close that up. These are the ones that are there. They're highlighted. And here are the ones that come up. Now, because I have US only turned off, it's going to push most of the people abroad that are overseas because of the hourly rate. Okay, hourly rate's going to play a big impact. Let's talk about hourly rate for a second. Nathan, who's going to work for $10 and below? Nathan, they just passed a law in California that the minimum wage is $15 an hour, right? Okay. Well, in the world of freelancing, you can charge whatever you want. This does not go by federal regulation, so you can literally offer whatever you're willing to pay to make this happen. That's the freelancer's decision. Now, the most two biggest expenses in a business is number one, taxes, number two, wages. So most companies, bigger companies, try to offset their costs and their expenses through wages. They try to offset it through hiring abroad, but basically looking for people with specific skill sets in those areas that they need the job fulfilled. So when I pull up $10 an hour and below, here's what's going to get pulled up. Okay. Now I want to dive a little deeper. I'm actually liking this one right from the beginning because it's a title examiner. So I'm going to focus on that. But just as an overview first, I'm going to break down the profile for you. We have Jennifer, who's not online. You can see this little gray area, this little gray dot. When they're online, it will highlight green. Okay. Here it shows her desired, I'm going to make that a point here, desired hourly rate. Not what they actually are supposed to get. It's desired. This number is negotiable. It could be higher, it can be lower, but it's negotiable. It's what their desired rate is. Then this is going to show you how much they've earned on Upwork.com. So it's going to show you here how many hourly jobs they've had, how many fixed price jobs, and how many hours they have worked. She has a 100% success rate, which is really good, and she's from the Philippines. Now, if you want to save this freelancer, maybe you want to come back to them later, you can always highlight with the heart. You can hire them directly right here, or you could post the job and send her the job opportunity. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dive right into this profile right now. I'm going to expand their profile here so that you can see everything they've done. And here is a good example of this profile, what Jennifer has put in to her profile, where it says, I am a title examiner and data analyst and data entry and proofreader for almost 4 years. She reads documents, examines tax records, mortgages, liens, foreclosures. She does a lot of title policy work, as she stated in title examiner and appraiser assistant. Okay. She also says, I have a team who is very well on website development, both front end and back end. She mentions a little bit here about IT work and development work, which we don't need from her right now because that's not what we're looking for, but she's mentioning it, okay? Now, by the way, if I ever wanted to see what their availability is, like how much time do they have available, then I see here she has 30 hours a week. If I ever wanted to share this profile with another friend of mine or a colleague in the industry, I just copy that link and then I can send someone that link to that profile directly. Okay, as I said, this is her hourly rate. She's earned that much, 81 jobs. She's worked that many hours. Okay, not too bad. Let's dive a little deeper. Work history. So this is the relevant work. This is all work history. I want you to just notice something here, that this is what she's doing. She's doing Baltimore real estate lead generation and marketing. I see that she's been on this job now for quite some time. We're looking at 3 years. The job is in progress, but she hasn't done a whole lot of work here. $4 an hour in 3 years, 63 hours. Not a lot going on there, right? $250. This job is still in progress, 5 years, almost 5 years, and not a lot of money there either, right? So I just want you to look at that, and here's some of the jobs that have been completed. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars, doing these types of jobs, fixed price gigs, right? So you see that, right? Also in the profile, it will show a portfolio. The freelancer can put a portfolio there if they want. Not everyone does, but they can put that there if they want to show the work they've done. It also shows their skill set, some of the things that they've used, maybe softwares that they use in their life and in their business. That's really helpful to see. This is also tests. Again, this doesn't have to do with what you call it, their education, but Upwork allows them to take these tests. As you can see how it says Odesk. She took this test probably a long time ago when this was originally Odesk and then it transferred over into Upwork.com. So she took this a while ago. Now I do want to point your attention to, she has quite a bit of below averages, right? You see all these below averages and a lot of low scores. So this is basically what she's gotten below average in. That could actually be help you determine whether this person is skilled in that particular area. These tests actually help us as real estate investors looking for an assistant to make that decision if they're proficient in that, okay? Now, it also shows their employment history. I honestly never pay attention to this at all. They put it in there. They give the opportunity for them to put it in there. I don't care where people have previously worked. I really care about the results they're getting, and I'm going to show you just a little bit what I find most valuable, how I really headhunt some of these individuals, but employment history, I really don't care. And their education, okay, if they have one, fantastic. Let me tell you what I really search for when I'm looking for a VA. The first thing I look for is money. That's right, money. I look for how much money they've earned. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to look for someone with the amount of money that I think is good. I see 80K right here. Oh, it's Anchor. I actually know Anchor, and I've actually recommended him to a lot of people. So I'm actually going to show him his profile right now. I'm going to jump into here. He's a virtual real estate assisted. MLS listings, rental lead generation. He's earned over $80,000 on Upwork. And you'll see the difference whether he works hourly. Notice again, by the way, his desired hourly rate is $6.25. Someone negotiated with him another rate of $5.60, another rate of $4, another one of $6.25, $4.44. Okay, so Anchor has done that. Now, I've actually recommended Anchor to quite a few people. He's done work for us in the past, and he's still on board with us. But we're not using him at the moment. Notice how it says I'm a real estate VA from India who has serving U.S. professionals for over the past 6 years. He's really good at what he does, by the way. Now, I want to show you something that is, again, what I look for in regards to money, because I noticed there's 80K, right? So here's what I look for. I look for jobs in progress. Okay, let me go to view more. He's got some stuff in his portfolio. Okay, view more. Okay, so here's one for $2,000, right? I see one, he's real estate advertising in Boston. The job is still in progress. 3 years, I see $2,000. Not bad, $2,000. I'm going to keep viewing more. You know what they say? Follow the money, honey. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. And actually, I've hired Anchor before, but this is primarily what I'll do most of the time. I will look for big ticket items with good reviews. Okay? There's $4,000, like this one right here. Marketing specialist. He's been doing it for a while. He's made over $4,000 with this client, and he's still working with them. $2,000, $1,000. That's great. Those are good. And a lot of 5-star reviews, by the way. A lot of 5-star reviews. So those are some things I look for, first of all. Okay, next, I look for, I'm gonna find someone else. Here's $500,000, okay? Now, this is an agency. Oh, I think I just clicked into it. Okay. All right, so here's an agency. They've earned over $500,000. Now, again, I'm going to do the same thing. Here's 1,000, 2,000. Here's 5,000, and this one's still in progress. Here's what I love. Here's a real estate VA in progress. 859 hours. That's the hourly rate. Vince is the one that's working primarily on this. So Vince is primarily the one. He's earned over $20,000 himself, and he's doing a lot of jobs. Look what I have here. This is where see how I just narrowed this all down. I want you to look at what I just did. I found the Mob Academy, right? As an agency, they have done all that work and earned over $500,000. Then as I dive deeper into them, I see where the big money is. I see where the big money is. Okay, see 1,000, 2,000, right? So I find where the big money is, and I found Vince. He made over 5,000, okay? So I found that. Then I go into Vince's profile, and look what I find here. I find 5,000 here, still in progress. 7,000 here, still in progress. 4,000 here, completed. 6,000, completed. So someone has paid this guy this amount of money as a real estate VA, another real estate VA, another real estate VA, okay? Now, what I want to find out is, okay, what exactly did this person do? What did he do with all these other real estate guys that he's worked with? So I will send him a message. I'll save him, and I'll also send a message over to them by hiring them now, and you send them a message, okay? So I do that. That's headhunting. I'm finding other people who have really liked a virtual assistant, and I'm headhunting for them. I don't even care if they're still working for this one. Like this one, he's not, but this one he is. He's still doing jobs in progress, Doesn't matter. I'm still going to reach out and I'm going to headhunt this guy because it seems like he's doing some good work from what I see so far. Remember, follow the money, honey. Okay? So, okay, it's asking me to log in. I hit the hire now button. Oh, okay. Let me log in there. Okay, so now that I'm about to hire Vince, right? Now I'm going to select the job category. I'm just going to put I'm just going to kind of go through this a little quickly, okay? I'm not going to. This is just basically the category. And how do I want to hire him? Hourly or fixed price? Now, I want to hire him hourly, okay? I don't want to. If someone I'm going to hire for a specific short-term project, I would do fixed price. But I want this person on long-term, so I'm going to hire them hourly. So now, as you can see, his profile pops up here, and I'm going to hire him. And I'm just going to put in, right? Oops, that's not spelling right. Okay, for now. Now, I'm going to propose, here are my terms. I'm going to propose, it says Vince's hourly rate is $8, but I'm going to propose a $6.50 hourly rate. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to start them off at 10 hours a week. That's typically what I do. Again, I'm showing you typically what I do. I always like to test them out. Now, as you see this setting right here, it says allow freelancer to log manual if needed. I always uncheck that, always. I always uncheck it because I don't want them to add a manual time. So that means if they max out at 10 hours, they do all their work for 10 hours, then that's it. I only want them to work 10 hours. And then I will give them the liberty to give them more time. They just say, hey, my hourly time is done. I'll work on it next week. So those are for the week, okay? Maximum of that amount of budget for the week, okay? All right. Now, this is where you put in the work description. This is where you say, I'm looking for someone to do X, Y, Z, and I'm trying to get all this stuff done. Yeah, here, can you do this stuff, right? You just put all the work description that you need done. I'm looking to sift and sort lists, do title search, whatever it is. Okay, whatever it is that you're trying to hire this person to do, then you can attach files if you needed, and then you hit yes that you agree to the terms of service through Upwork, and then you hire Vince. That doesn't mean they're automatically hired. Vince is actually going to get a notification about this offer that you've just sent him, and he has the choice to accept it or reject it. He may reject it for a reason of the work description. Maybe it's not his forte. Maybe he's not, really good at that stuff and doesn't want to do what your work description is. So that might not work for him. He also might say, well, listen, the hourly rate is too low. My average rate is $8, and I please have to stick with that. Now, you can actually see what he's been paid by those other people. You can see $6.95, $6.95. Those have been the negotiated rates. Okay? Not everybody has paid the $8 an hour. Okay? So keep that in mind. I'm not going to submit this offer because I don't want to hire him right now. So I'm going to close that down. You can also save, by the way, if you ever want to, use them later. You can save and then add a note there of why you want to save them. That helps if you're looking for an assistant later on. Okay? All right, and then I'm going to go back to the main screen that we were on there a second ago. Okay, which is where we left off. So I saw $500,000. Here we have $30,000. Another $30,000. I've hired her before. She's really good. Okay. $40,000, $30,000, 10, 20, 20, 30. Okay, here's one, Thomas at $100K. I'm going to check him out. Thomas is in the Dominican Republic. This guy basically has call center specialist for 10 years. Also, he was a supervisor. Okay? So, 23 jobs, 1,300 hours. Let's dive in a little deeper. See over $1,000 here. Something about blockchain. I see here $3,000 to customer happiness, emails. Okay. Whenever I look for a high dollar amount, I like to see what they got it in. Okay, so I see web content poster, LGBT, social website. Okay, so that's not really what I'm looking for, right? I see telemarketer. I see a lot of telemarketing going on. So maybe if I needed someone for telemarketing, like to pick up phone calls, I could use them, okay? I could use someone like Thomas. Depends on what you're looking for in your business. Again, remember, we just typed in real estate assistant. We didn't type in real estate assistant for data. There's also real estate assistant for social media. A lot of different options there. All right, here's 80K. Let's find out what she has done. Okay, look here. She has done work in Craigslist, Backpage, which Backpage is no more. She's worked on all these types of websites, as you can see right there. All right, she has been on Odesk and Upwork since 2010, so 9 years. She has she's worked in customer support through live chat and email through those platforms, e-commerce and SEO, internet marketing. So let's dive in a little deeper and see what she's actually worked on. Here's something I really like. $12,000 at $5 an hour. She's still working for this company. She's a listing specialist, organized real estate listings. So I'm going to click in this. I just want to know a little bit more what this person was looking for. A listing specialist, organized real estate listings. And this is the job description. Hello, I need someone who can work 2 to 5 hours a day. This job requires photo altering skills, real estate knowledge and experience, and extreme attention to detail. Please let me know if you're interested. By Raymond. And that was what he was looking for, and he has hired that many people. He's out of San Francisco. He's spent over $50,000 in hiring people. Okay? And a bunch of that has come from this one right here. Here's another one, long-term support, daily work. That one's okay depending on what I'm looking for. All right, there's her portfolio, so she definitely put some stuff up there. Here are her skills, email handling, customer support. And here again are some of the things that she's really good at. Above average, telephone etiquette, office skill test, English, above average, right? Okay, so those are some of the things I look for. Then what happens is, now, okay, I'm not logged into my account right now. Oh, wait, I think I was, right? Yeah. No, I am logged in, yeah. So when you're logged in, you can actually reach out to them directly. When you're not logged in, you can't. So that was the difference. Okay, now the next thing I always get asked about is, Nathan, how do you track these people? How do you know if they're working for you? Okay, after you hire them and they go to work, and how can you track what's going on? So let me find one that's current. Now, I actually will show you. Where can I find that? Here. Okay, let me go back here. And I'm going to find someone who is working with me here as an assistant. And so you go into the reports, by the way, weekly summary. And then you can click on their hours, what they've done. So basically what happens, let me make something clear here. When you're hiring an assistant, right? They actually, when you're asking them to work on an hourly basis, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I want you to use Time Tracker. Time Tracker is a software from Upwork that they download on their computer, so that their screenshots, it records their screen and sends you the screenshots and then uploads it here to the work diary. You can see here like their time that they've put in. Like for example, we've hired this lady right here. We've hired her for 11 hours so far, and we've paid her $121. She has worked no hours this week, and it shows the different days they work and all that stuff. So this shows any messages that are going on between us. Whoops. Go back, then work diary. Okay, so this work diary right here is where you can actually see what they've done. So let me break this down. This shows the time they started, and if you notice here where it says 1 p.m., 1:10 p.m., 1:20, 1:30, 1:40, okay, that's screenshots every 10 seconds. So it's randomly taking screenshots of their screen every 10 seconds. And this green bar, this shows how active they are. This means how much are they using of their keyboard, how much are they using their mouse. So it actually tracks mouse movement and keyboard input, and it gives you an aggregate number, and this one is 8 out of 10, okay? So this means they're actively working a lot right there. Now down here, we have only 3, so they could have been reading something, looking at something. They could have been scrolling, because I'm only seeing 31 at mouse. So they could have been scrolling for a bit here, okay? So let me jump into this one. I'm going to zoom in, and I can actually even zoom in to see what they were looking at. You see, I can actually see her screen and what's happening on her screen, and then I can see, I mean, look how detailed this is. From 9 out of 10 minutes, I'm seeing how much keyboard typing she's doing, how much keyboard typing from 1 minute to the next, to how much mouse movement there is. Isn't that amazing? You can track mouse movement and keyboard input by literally the seconds. Okay? That's how detailed this stuff is. So, if you have someone that you run into an issue with, I'm wondering if I can find a recent issue. People always, I get always asked that. People are like, oh, don't you have bad experiences? Yeah, we all do. There was a guy here. I think it was this guy. I think it was. Yeah, we hired Abu, and we hired him at the end of the year, actually. Let me go over into his work diary, and I'll show you something that happened, real-life example. The end of the year. Was that it? Oh, I hope I can pull this up. It's got to be around here. Yeah. So towards the end of the year, we hired him to help us out with Facebook. We had some technical issues going on with Facebook. And the interesting thing was the project ended at the end of the year. And I'm going to draw your attention to these 2 dates right here. January 12th and 13th. The project ended January 1st with him, okay? That's when you see all that work that he did. This is all active work that it was done, as you can see it reflecting here on the screen. Then over here on January 12th and 13th, he starts working again. But the project was done. And so when I got notified that I was billed for this labor that I didn't ask him to do, I rejected this work, okay? So I rejected that. So it actually shows okay, you paid this guy, I think it was an extra $40, and that wasn't approved by me. We got into a little tit-tat over it, and as you can see here, we had a bunch of messages going back and forth. This was the project. Let me just go back to this part, the most important part. Right here where he says, where is it? I forgive you, believe me, but we were shocked. Thanks. I'm also shocked. Right? There was just a miscommunication, so he says, on his part. I care about the friendship, maintain client satisfaction, yada, yada, yada. We got our money back for that, time that was added onto our account. Anyway, outside of that, you can also add bonuses if you wanted to, or you can end the contract if you needed to. You could also request a refund. That's what we did. We requested a refund for the hours worked that he should not have been working, and that's that. You can also through the app, by the way, through Upwork. I'll draw your attention to this. Is messages. A lot of the communication. I got a bunch of conversations going on here, but over here in this. Over here where I was talking, this is where you can view the contract for Abu, and here's where you can do video chat and phone calls, okay? Now, something I want to bring up that's very important, the reason why they have these 2 features in here of video chat and phone calling through Upwork is one thing you do not want to do. Let me stress this, really, really important, okay? Where am I? Oh, okay. So I want to bring something up that's really important, and it's this. There are people that I've hired through Upwork that over the course of time, they have left Upwork or they've decided to go a different route. They started another business. I'll give you an example. I remember about maybe 6-7 years ago, we hired someone who had built a big clientele on Upwork.com. Okay, they hired someone on Upwork.com. We hired them, and they built up this big clientele, and then they left Upwork.com because they built all these clients, and they had a lot of new clients that were coming in. So they left Upwork, and they sent me an email. They said, hey, we've been on Upwork for 5 years, but we're now leaving Upwork completely. We're shutting down our profile, and we're going to generate our customers from other sources. So when they did that, I still wanted to work with them because they were doing really good work. So then we needed a new form of payment, like how are we going to pay these people, right? So what we did was we set up a PayPal and we paid them through PayPal. But let me make something very clear. What you don't want to do, and this is very against Upwork's policies, you don't want to have a conversation with a VA within Upwork and say, hey, can I pay you outside of Upwork? Okay? What you want to do is if you're going to hire someone through Upwork, pay them through Upwork. We do that on a regular basis. I have anybody that I hire for real estate or anything long term, we hire them through Upwork, we pay them through Upwork. Here's how it works with payments. Upwork will take the money that they've worked on a weekly or project basis. If it's a weekly basis on a salary, then they will take the money out of your account on Monday, and then they'll hold it and they release it to them on Wednesday. Okay, that's how they pay out. If it's on a project basis, then Upwork will hold an escrow. They'll open escrow and they'll hold you. Excuse me. They'll open escrow. They'll hold the money, and then they will pay them when you approve half of the project is going well or complete. Those are called milestones. After a milestone is set and complete, then they will release that amount of money, and then they'll remove another deposit if you have multiple milestones. So in a project basis, you set up milestones, and when those milestones are complete, the money is dispersed to the freelancer. Okay, that's the difference between the two. Here's what you do not want to do. Do not try to hire someone on Upwork.com and then try to pay them outside of Upwork.com through PayPal or any other payment provider. Okay, you don't want to do that. And if Upwork finds out about it, they're going to cancel your account and they're going to cancel the freelancer's account. Ask me how I know that. Yeah. So years ago, I did that because I wanted to save the money on the brokerage fee. Upwork is a broker, and they are bringing two parties together, and they get 20% of the hourly rate or the project rate, okay? So they get 20%. That's for them bringing together. So I highly recommend, if you're going to use Upwork.com to hire your virtual real estate investors, your virtual real estate assistants, then pay them through Upwork, okay? Keep everything in Upwork. It's so much easier. If you needed a refund, you can refund through there. You can, file claims and all that stuff, end contracts, start contracts, all that kind of stuff. Just do the right thing. Keep it in Upwork, okay? Very important. The other feature they have in there is the video call and the phone call through Upwork. What Upwork discourages is trying to get a VA from Upwork and then take them to Skype, okay? So if you type in a Skype address, or even if you type in the word Skype or any other messenger like WhatsApp or any other kind of messenger service within your chats in Upwork, they will detect that and they will remind you that you should not be breaking their terms of service. Okay? That's why they encourage you and they provide messaging through this service, video chat, and phone calls all through Upwork. Don't try to take your VA outside of the platform. All right? Otherwise, they'll shut you down and they'll shut your freelancer down. Okay? Now, I'll tell you one example that I've done years ago when it was Odesk. When Odesk was converting one of my virtual assistants, who has been with me now for 6 years. Actually, this is the 7th year. So she's been with me a long time. When Odesk was converting over to Upwork, she actually left Upwork. She left Odesk and she'd never transferred over to Upwork. And so she still remains my full-time assistant, except I do not pay her through Upwork.com. So she doesn't have a profile through Upwork. She doesn't have a profile anywhere else. She just works for me full-time, and we use PayPal, or actually we use Zoom, which is XOOM.com, Zoom.com, and we pay her through there, which is actually owned by PayPal. And so we pay that way. Now, that may not be the case, or you might find a freelancer online on another platform, and you want to hire someone that way. Maybe you find someone on Facebook, and someone's messaging you on Facebook, say, "Hey, you can hire us. We're a virtual, a virtual assistant company or an agency, or you can hire me. I'm a virtual assistant." Okay, so even if someone reaches out to you through social media or through email, and they're not coming in through Upwork.com or another brokerage source, okay, a broker website, just keep that in mind, that if you have someone contacting you, that you are going to want to look for some of the things that I showed you today, that we looked at. the amount of money they've made, the portfolio, reviews. I would recommend just go through Upwork because it makes it super easy, and they are a leader in this industry for this, absolutely. And outside of that, just again, really important, I don't want to see you have your account shut down, so make sure you keep them. If you find them through Upwork, pay them through Upwork and move forward from there. Now, one last note I want to share with you that's really important. This is more about mindset in your business, okay? What I want to share with you about mindset in your business for virtual assistants. If you're new to real estate investing, right? If you're new to real estate investing and maybe you've never done a title search, or maybe you don't like to do title searches like me, hate the data work. Maybe you're not good at Excel. Maybe you're not good at list building. I want you to look at the people that I just showed you today. They've made $80,000, $50,000, $30,000 in already by doing those tasks. Some of them, like I showed you Vince, he's made $12,000, $6,000, whatever, $5,000 doing those specific tasks that you don't like. Do you know what that means? They have more experience than you. Isn't that amazing? You're the real estate investor, but yet they have more experience than you. They're going to do some of the work that maybe you're not familiar with, that you don't know how to do, maybe work that you don't like doing. That's me. And you're delegating that work to them. The way I envision this and working with virtual assistants is I'm the owner of the company, and I'm walking into my boardroom, my virtual boardroom, and seated in that room is another 6, sometimes 8. Sometimes I have up to 8 virtual assistants going all at one time. So let me just share with you, I'm walking into my boardroom, my virtual boardroom, and my 8 virtual assistants are all there with me, and they all have their specific expertise. And they're there helping build the company. Well, Joe is really good at, getting leads online. And then Abu is really good at, doing the Facebook. And then Ramesh is really good at sifting and sorting leads and lists, right? Everyone has what they're really good at in their skill set. I don't want to have 3 people in that boardroom doing 8 people's work. I don't want to have, 2 people and trying to stretch their skill set. One of the things I really ask my people before they join my boardroom, okay, before they join my circle, I ask the assistant, even despite what I see on their profile, I always ask them, what do you love to do on a daily basis? What do you really enjoy doing for work? And I've actually found some people that had everything in their profile about one thing, and then, funny enough, I have seen their response be, oh, I really like doing, let's just say, social media, and I like posting real estate ads for social media. I absolutely love that. So I may have been looking for them in one area, but they really love something else. I'll put them in their love. Okay, I'll put them in the place in the seat that they love. Okay, sometimes people refer to this as you have a bus that you're driving. You're the driver, and you have your employees and your virtual assistants in the bus with you. And you got to put people in the right seat, what they really are good at, what they really love to do. That's what I like to do, except I call mine a boardroom, is I want to make sure that the people are in the right seat in my boardroom, doing the thing that they have a skill set for and that they love, so that it doesn't feel like work to them and that they're really good at it, and then we all produce even more. That's really important. And if you notice something, that what I've done, did you pay attention? Did you notice what I did during my searches? Be honest with me. Did you notice? Did you notice how I just looked for people who made the most money? Did you notice how I just looked for people who made a lot of money with a specific niche, like a specific task? Did you see how I was looking how they made a lot of money with an ongoing project? See, that's what I look for. I look for people who are already making a lot of money with someone who's using them already. They already have a job in progress. They're already being hired. And then I try to get only 10 hours a week out of them. And then that can eventually grow. That can go from just now 10 hours. I can grow that to 15 hours and 20 hours. And eventually they can become all mine. They can actually leave another investor. They can leave someone else. That's called headhunting. Now you heard of this before, I'm sure, where you see big companies lose people because of better offers. right? That's what I do. First, I hire them just a little bit. I give them just like 5 to 10 hours a week, something on the side. And then if I see how good they are, I start sweetening the deal. So I'll add bonuses to what they're doing. I'll give them extra bonuses and incentives. Then I'll increase their time. And then all of a sudden, they go from working 30 hours for the other person that they were making a bunch of money off of, and now they're working 30 hours for me because they have the skill set, right? That's called headhunting. It's a very powerful technique. There's a great book on it, by the way, called Top Grading. I'm not saying run out there and go run out and read it. It's a very thick book, actually, by Brad Smart. It's a book on recruiting. It's a book on building teams. It's very good, and that's when I used to do that many years ago. I used to build teams of over 2,000 people. So it's really important that you know what you're looking for when you're hiring a virtual assistant for your business. Just make sure that there is money backed on, because that's results. That's actually going to help you streamline your process of finding someone. If someone is already hiring them for a specific job and they've already paid them a bunch of money, well, it must be working, right? Pretty much. 90%, 95% of the time, I have found that it works better that way. When I first started hiring VAs, I was hiring the cheapest people who wasn't working with anybody, and they only had like 10 hours of work in so far, and maybe they only made $200. And I was like, okay, they're available. I read their profile. Their profile sounded really good, but they had no money built in to the platform yet. They had no validation that they actually were doing good work. They didn't have many reviews, but their price was cheap. It was $3 an hour. So that's not what I look for. Yes, money is a factor, but I really look for expertise. I look for the money that they've made with other people in the same industry, and I look just to take some of their time and then increase the relationship, and then they're eventually working for me full time. This works really well. This is not something that I've just done for me. It's worked so well for me that I actually have other guys in the industry. Maybe you've heard of some of these people before, but I've had other real estate experts in the industry copy and model the same technique to get other great real estate virtual assistants. And again, that same model can work in the United States. It can work outside of the United States. Most of my virtual assistants are outside of the United States. And I really like that, actually. We communicate on a regular basis, and we get the job done. We make it happen. So with that being said, we've come to the end here. And again, I want to say this. If you've enjoyed this training so far, give it a like or a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below. But also, if you have any questions about what you've seen or what you heard, or have any additional questions, throw it in the comments below, and I'll get those answers for you. I hope today's training, I know we normally have our Q&A session. I hope this training was good and you enjoyed it. If you want to see more trainings like this, maybe on specific topics, let me know. That way I can prepare for you and get you those trainings as well. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Take care and have a great day.